another edition of Before the Podcast. I'm currently editing it, and I'm wearing the same shirt. I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore the previous episode, but sometimes that's how life is, you know? Somehow that's how life is, but it's a good episode. Tune in, please pay attention. Thank y'all for the support. I ain't even got much to say. I just want to say I'm wearing the same shirt. Don't roast me, don't get on me. It is what it is. Silent but Deadly, man. We out. Thank y'all for watching. Let's go. Silent but Deadly, the podcast, episode number 6. The audio is good right now. And as you can tell by the title today, I'm bringing a very, very special episode. Episode that could be for men or episode that could be for women. But mostly, I'm going to talk from the experience as a man. But if you, if you're a woman watching this, enjoy. And you could probably take some tips from this too, because nowadays women is just as sexually active as men, probably more. So I think this video is perfect timing, and this video is straight from the heart, all no cap. And full disclosure, this is the second time I'm recording the podcast, because I recorded the podcast when I was the first one regarding this topic. I was super high off energy. I had super high energy, and I came and I was saying a lot of good stuff, but I feel like the information wasn't organized, and I feel like sometimes I got to rambling and not saying everything that needed to be said. And this time I'm kicking it off the head again too. So hopefully I'm gonna do it justice this time, but because I don't want to revisit this topic anytime soon, I want to make sure I do this justice and get all my ideas out so that I can help the viewers and bring value like I like to do, and, you know, and go crazy. So where do we start with the semen retention thing? Currently, I believe I passed the 6-month mark. Currently, I think I'm sitting at day 180 something. It's either day 181 or day 182. And I never felt better. Last time I released was June 6th. And I think semen retention is something everybody should practice. This is a topic that I'm a little reluctant to cover, and I was a little reluctant to cover because remember when we used to be kids and everything in your pants was your private parts. The teachers called it your private parts, your parents called it your private parts, but now, and you ain't heard that in a long time, private parts is no longer private. We live in a generation of OnlyFans, live in a generation of Instagram, a social media generation, get your likes generation, get your attention generation. And so now sexuality is used as a weapon by women against men. And if you want to know where this started, I watched one of my alternative news sources, and he just kind of talked about how the introduction of, he believes that the reason people are so highly sexually active and have these high sex drives is because the media. And his theory is that culture is not something that is shaped, it's something that is created. And I tend to agree with this sentiment, because if you see what happens in the movies and what happens in TV shows and what's being talked about in the news, it bleeds down into the culture. And so the culture basically becomes what is on the news and what is in the media. And so if you put a whole bunch of sex and you put a whole bunch of people having sex and highly sexualized men and women, then this too will bleed into the culture. You'll have people that wasn't thinking about sex, seeing sex on TV, just wanting to get sex. I'm sure you guys can relate to seeing a movie or a TV show and you see people having sex, and you know it is what it is. That's just how it works. Whatever you let into your mind, it comes into your whole body, it comes into your brain. The eyes is what you see. So what you see is how you gonna react. So we live in this culture right now that's so hyperly sexualized, and it's been cooking up over time. Right now we see the emergence of OnlyFans, and OnlyFans is kind of taking over the world. It's kind of going crazy, and just for anybody that doesn't know what OnlyFans is, just in case you're living on the rock, or if this is a dated video, I don't know how long this video is going to survive, but OnlyFans is basically a site where, okay, well, we'll say what the site is: a place where you can go and post videos and pictures, and people can pay you a premium every month to see what you post, and they can contact you like in the DMs. And so this is the structural framework of the app, to have a site where people that rock what you can pay you to see your exclusive content. And we'll talk about the word content later, but people will pay you to see your exclusive content, and you can rock out. You pay them every month. But what this has, I'm not sure what the inception, no, I am sure. I do know this. The creator, I'm pretty sure the creator of OnlyFans was also involved in the creation of like one of the dating apps or something. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure the creator of OnlyFans is a pervert. So with that being said, I believe the whole app was designed for this type of what's called sex work, whatever that means, this type of sex work. And so we now have girls and men, but a lot of girls making all of their income on sending, showing pictures of whatever they like, but a lot of times it's adult. A majority of the time it's adult content. It's sex, it's nudity, it's everything. And how do we get here? Obviously, in the culture, let's say we take this 100 years or even 90 years, and this is not too far away. This is not a long stretch. Like, my grandmother was born in 1930. 1930, that's almost 100 years ago. So if we think about 1930, 1940, 1950, I have a hard time believing that people was highly sexualized, and I know they weren't. We lived in a more modest culture. We lived in a time where family was very important. Mother and father was very important. And really, all life was structured around a family. A lot of people stick to their family. They stuck on their farm so they can eat. Some people might have ventured, but family was much more important. And this might have to do with the rise of OnlyFans, but how did this change? Somebody might ask. Like, if you live in a culture where family is important and morals and values is important and everybody sticks together, how did this change? Well, obviously something will have to break it up. Something will have to get into the minds of the people, get into just distort the way people, distorts people's perception of reality, so that they can live a certain way and think that is normal because of what they see and what they hear. So now we have this generation where I think a lot of people had a theory that it started with media and movies and TV and a couple films and a couple events that changed this could be, and this is what I've learned, is one, the movie American Pie, and two, these like scandalous sex tapes that are leaked by famous people. And obviously we know earlier, like, they say it's leaked, but this is all coordinated. None of this stuff gets out by accident. So the first one was, what was it, Pam? I think her name's Pam Anderson. And she was a famous actress. And then she ended up, this was like in the late 90s, maybe like the 60s, 70s, late to mid 90s. And she was the first person to release a sex tape. And that was followed by people like Britney Spears and Kim Kardashian. So that was the first time that people were exposed to images, adult images that were not specifically like adult content, like a full production. It was like candid, like in the house, like low key, like type thing. If that makes sense to you all, it's not a full production. It's like a home video. This was the introduction of home videos. And then I brought up the movie American Pie because in that movie, it showed the females the power they have with their sexuality. So we went from a culture that was conservative, and I don't mean conservative in a political sense. I mean conservative in that they had moral values, they valued family, to now we're transitioning to a culture where we see more and more sex, less morals, and all this. There's no way that this could have been pushed by like the government. Like the government couldn't have. There's no way the government could like knock on everybody's door or send letters and say, "Hey, let's start having sex. Let's just jack the whole culture up. Let's just have everybody freaky. Everybody have sex on the brain." No, there's no way that they could have did this. So what's the way they did it? They put it in the movies, they put it in the books, they put it in the TV shows, and it just seeps into your subconscious. If you're constantly watching people have sex and everybody's around you having sex, then the culture will be sex. So we have a transition from these old times, and then the sexual revolution, and then the introduction of technology, and then it's just a roadmap of things that happen that got us to where we are. So why do I think semen retention? So semen retention. This is an episode about semen retention. That was just a little bit about cultural creation and how we got here. How we got to a point where everybody is concerned about sex. Everything is highly sexualized. If you look at a celebrity, just the way they dress is highly sexualized. Music is highly sexualized. Most content is sexualized. Social media, you go on Instagram, TikTok, sex is weapon. So going back to what I talked about American Pie, there was this scene where the boys had, my man's was with a female, and his homies was watching their interaction through like a video, through a computer, and it was being recorded live, and they were watching it. And this was the first time imagery and things like this was ever seen, and I think this was one of the showings of how the culture was going to change, because this was not at the time of release of American Pie. The culture is not where it is now, where masturbation is normal, like pleasing yourself and doing yourself. Like there was a time where that didn't used to be cool, and I dare to say people probably didn't do it at all because people probably didn't know about it. And now we live and back in the day, even when I was young, you don't just talk about that. You don't just, like, that's something you keep private. That's something that's not, you don't just say that. But now we got people just out in the open just saying it, like they masturbate 2 times a day, like every day, like. And so now we live in a culture where this is not a serious thing. And some people may argue that it's not a serious thing. Some people may say masturbation and sex is just just a normal thing, and you should be able to do it freely. And if we take religion and we take the Bible and we take a moral code out, let's look at people that don't have sex and people that do have sex. And I have no statistics and no research, but I think common sense will show you that, well, maybe not common sense, because common sense is no longer common, but if you think about it, somebody that is having sex with a whole bunch of people, say that they don't know, and they're just having all these interactions, that person's not going to be stable mentally. They're gonna have sex on the brain constantly, and they're just going to be a whore in the night, if I can say that. But hopefully I can say that because I just said it. I've been retaining for 6 months, so I can say it. When you've been retaining for 6 months, you just have a different type of energy. And I'll go into that too, because on the first podcast I kicked, this is the first try of this podcast, I was talking a lot about the energy and a lot about the benefits, and I want to talk about that again. But it's a misconception about doing semen retention for the benefits. And in the previous, I mentioned that a lot of people say that they do semen retention, and a lot of times it's for women, like, because I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's pheromones, or I'm not sure if it's stuff happening in the spiritual realm or subconscious, but there's a change that happens when you retain your seed. I'm gonna talk as a man right now to the men watching, because I can't talk for females. But when you retain your seed, First of all, there's a change in your brain. I believe that this process will be different for every people, because every person and every man, because every man is at a different level of perversion, and every man has had sexual experiences that kind of like dull your blade, kind of. If I can use an analogy, let's say you have a sharp sword, and every time you use your sword, it gets a little bit duller. Or you have a knife, it gets a little bit duller. So every time you have sex, duller, 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 duller. And by the time you have 30, 40, 50 partners, you got a little dull knife that can barely cut anything. Like you try to cut some butter, you gotta really go hard. And some people might not understand that analogy, but I think that when you retain your seed, it just sharpens your blade, and it makes you, first of all, it makes you appreciate females. That's one thing. It takes away the objectification of females, and you can appreciate females for more than their body parts or for more than their looks. You actually appreciate females for just being females. And this is an incredible feeling as a man, when you can appreciate the opposite sex just because they're the opposite sex. For some reason, it gives you some kind of energy. And I think it's just because our bodies are designed to reproduce, especially as men. So when you're constantly tricking yourself into thinking that you're reproducing, you don't give your body the opportunity to go into that mode where you just feel dangerous and you feel like you just gotta, like, I can't, the way you feel when you get to a long streak, you just get this energy, and this energy is not like an energy that comes from the brain. When you drink coffee or have a good night's rest of sleep, a good night's rest, a lot of the energy is up here. You feel clear-headed and you feel ready. But the energy that I'm referring to, that you get from retaining, is going to sound weird if you never experienced it, but it stems from below. It stems from that region. It stems from around there. So it's a whole different type of energy. It's a lot of people that are familiar with semen retention might be familiar with the term sexual transmutation. And if you're just starting, you might think sexual transmutation is just something that somebody made up just to say it. But when you have that energy, like, you're either gonna put the energy to releasing what you feel down there, or you can transmute it and put it somewhere else. So for me personally, these last few days and these last 1 to 2 weeks, when the energy is high, like, you almost think only about, I wouldn't say you only think about sex, but that's all you feel. Like, your whole body just feels sex. So me, the way I've been, and you can't shake it. It's nothing you can do to shake it. So, like, the only way would be to release. And if you release, that's an L, but that's the problem. That's the problem, because I don't know how long it's gonna last, but if you weak on this journey and you constantly, day after day after day, you just feel this, one day you might just give up and just release it all, and then you won't feel it again. But I'm telling you, like, this energy, I don't even know. I think it needs to have a different name than energy, because this energy that you get from down low, it powers you, and you have to put your energy somewhere, or else you're just gonna be thinking about sex, and it's gonna be terrible for you. Like it feels good, but it feels bad, because if you can't handle it, then it's gonna be too much for you. You're gonna have to release it. So I think that this is why I say that semen retention is a test of strength, because every day I have to be strong. Every day I have to, like, I went to 2 sessions of jiu-jitsu yesterday, and you have to find stuff to do. You have to keep your mind occupied, and it gives me strength, and it gives me the reason to have to be out. Like, I have to be out making moves. I have to be on the run, because if not, I'm gonna be thinking about sex. And I'm gonna think about the hub. Well, not really, because the hub is nasty to me now. Also, when you retain, you don't become a pervert. I think we live in a culture of straight perverts, and this is not an attack at anybody's character, but this is just a result of the fall of this society. And I could talk about other things, about like the degradation of the morals of society, but Right now, we're just talking about retaining a seed and sexual transmutation. And hopefully, the next time I come, to not like that. Next time I come with a podcast talking about this, I'll be able to explain further how how I've mastered the sexual transmutation, how I've got through it. Cause it's tough, it's hard, but man, like you've got this good outlook on life. I feel like I have a good outlook on life when I just feel you just feel whole, feel like a man, and it's just a test of strength. And this is something that I believe every man should try. And right now, my goal is to go for a whole year. And sometimes it feels like it's easy. Sometimes it feels like I'm gonna get through a year just like that. And I know that it's gonna go fast. Like eventually, I'm gonna be in May, and I'm gonna be like, whoa, like it's almost been a year. But some days it's hard. Some days you're in a rut, and you just got to get out of it. But even like Mike Tyson, they say he went on semen retention for 5 years, and I can see that because it's gonna sound weird, but I gotta keep it 100. I gotta let y'all know it's gonna sound weird, but even thinking about other things like gets me aroused. Like I'm gonna keep it 100. Just like playing the game, like winning, or like just weird things, just like seeing like my progress or thinking about progress I can make or thinking about work I'm finna do. Like these type of things get me aroused. Like that sounds weird, but that's what it is. And I think it's just a transition period for my body from always pretending or from always releasing, and now I'm holding it in, and so my body's just changing. And I think when you hold it in, everybody's reaction is gonna be different. And sometimes your mind may play tricks on you. Sometimes you might convince yourself to release for whatever reason, but this journey is about strength. It's about longevity. Like only the strong is gonna survive on this journey. And you could talk big in the beginning. You could talk big for 2 months, 3 months, however many months, but it's gonna be a time where it gets hard, and you're gonna have to choose if you're gonna have strength or if you're gonna be weak. And some people are gonna be weak, and some people is gonna have strength. And I'm not saying that you can't be successful if you don't do this, but I'm gonna tell you like this: this is a tool that you can use to further your life, further your strength, to get more focus, get more energy. I'm gonna tell you also like this: sex is the biggest weapon that a female can have against you. And a female is just another person, so you never know what type of traps you can fall into just because you was chasing females. And we see this all the time. Men, the downfall of never give your strength to a woman, that which destroyed kings. That's out the Bible. It's in Proverbs. And this is very true. A woman can destroy your whole world. A woman could get you killed. A woman could get you locked up just because you wanted to have sex. A lot of the time, you don't even like these women, but they put that spell on you. A lot of females know how to put that spell on you, and then you're done just because you didn't know how to control, you didn't know how to retain. And so for me, it's so easy to duck and dodge females and to talk to females too, because I don't need anything from a woman. And if you take anything from this video, know that if you don't need sex from a female, then she can't do anything to you. She has no power over you. And I learned that from Mr. Keep It Simple, Monk Mode Maniacs. This was the person that got me inspired to go on the second streak and to really be strong and have strength. And I remember at the beginning of this journey, it was times I didn't want to go on. It was times I was like, nah, I can't do this. But then he would be posting every day, and I was like, man, if I stop now, I won't even be able to listen to the video. I'll feel too much conviction. So it's little things like that'll get you through your journey, and you gotta find things that'll get you through the hard parts. So like for example, he used to recommend, like, when you feel like you can't go on, you just gotta do push-ups to failure. You gotta do pull-ups to failure. You gotta find a way to expel that energy. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because as a man, we should be getting to work. We should be getting to it. And so because men spend a lot of time chasing females, pursuing females, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. You gotta find the right one. You gotta court her. You got to keep her entertained. And then if she starts liking you, then it's up. It's up. These females be clingy. These females getting attached. So we're not even talking about relationships. The relationship episode is going to be crazy. But we're not even talking about relationships. We're just talking about if you want sex. Like, even the pursuit of sex just takes so much time. So if you're a man, imagine you don't have to spend time chasing females. So you have time to do whatever you need. You have extra energy. You're in a position where you're forced to expel energy, or else you're just thinking about sex. Like for me, last week I had to be on the move. Like I'll go from class to library to this study spot to the gym, back to the crib to eat, to go back to study. Then I'll go work out and then play the game. And then by then it's time to go to sleep. So like you have to fill your day so that you don't get caught up like in like the energy that comes from below. I'm telling you, it's getting crazy. I'm at that point in my streak, in my retention journey or whatever right now, where I just got to find stuff to do, or else it's just too much energy. And maybe this will change. Maybe I'll learn how to control it. Maybe next time I come to y'all, I'll be saying some more stuff. But this is just how I'm feeling right now and how I'm living right now. And I'm trying to stay strong, show people that you can do it, show people that it's possible, show people that you don't have to be perverted, you don't have to be horny. And I just want to get married. I want to have a wife, but if she never comes, I think that I can go my whole life and just be a monk and just go crazy and just work and do whatever. Who knows the future? But I think this is definitely something that people should try. A lot of people say that the benefits are fake, and a lot of people say that semen retention is just for people that can't get no coochie. I've heard that a lot. And this is, first of all, if this was something that everybody could do, why is nobody doing it? It's not because they just don't want to do it. It's because like they have to do it. Like it's an addiction at this point. A lot of people are in too deep, and on this journey, some people are not gonna like you because you can retain your seed, and that's okay too. When you're chasing greatness, people are not gonna like you. They hated Jesus, so if they hated Jesus, like of course you're gonna have haters. That's why you just gotta stay on your pivot and stay on your grind. But semen retention has been a crazy experience. It just feels good to wake up every day. Every day is a new number, and a lot of days I don't even think about it, and I just think about how far I've came and how far along I am. And I'm saying all this, and the streak can end tomorrow. The streak can end today, but that's why it's about strength. You got to be strong. You got to be strong and weak. That's the most important thing. If you could, like I said, the first thing if you take from this video is that if you don't need sex from a female, she has no power over you. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's a journey about strength. You have to be strong when you're weak. When you feel weak, you have to be strong. That's the only way you'll get through this journey. When you feel weak, you have to be strong. And it's that simple. And yeah, so I'm glad I got to redo this podcast, because I think this one was way better than the other one. The other one I was just so charged up and gassed up off of energy, and I wanted this to really make sense and really hit home, and not just me rambling and being and just saying anything, because I think this is a very important topic. I think if you take on the challenge then you'll be very dangerous, because people, especially females, can't manipulate you with sex. Because now we live in a generation where the music is telling these girls that they can manipulate dudes with sex, and they're pumping all this masculine energy into these females, and it's kind of throwing the dynamic off. And I don't want to get too much into sexual dynamic, because I want to say that for the relationship episode. I'm gonna think that's gonna be the special episode number 10, relationships, and I think that's gonna be a great episode. We'll see what episode that is. But yeah, when you are so caught up on having sex, you might get caught up in a situation where you was in a feminine role and your girl's in a masculine role, because you're so needy. You're so needy for her box, and it's just a piece of flesh. It's just all pleasure. It's just all pleasure. And so if you want to take the vow to be for strength and just to try something different and to live a different way, then I definitely recommend just saving a seed. And on this journey, you might have pitfalls. You might not be able to go cold turkey, but get back on the horse. Keep going, and I promise you one day you'll feel it, and promise you one day it'll be worth it. And yeah, this culture is crazy. This culture is hypersexualized, and one thing that'll help you would be to get off the media and to stop viewing all this imagery, because man, it's a weapon. It's a weapon. Obviously, it's a weapon. These girls, and then the culture is so jacked up that it's like promoted to be highly sexually active and highly, even they was making articles about No Nut November being like they was trying to politicize No Nut November and make it like a thing about politics, and they're saying that it's bad and it's not, like you should just release, and like they're promoting this stuff. They want you to be weak. They want you to be just lifeless out here. When you bust a nut, you just lifeless. You just like in a vegetative state. But me, I'm fired up. I'm fired up, and I never felt better. And it's hard, but it's about strength. It's about strength. You want to, it's just about what you want to do. You can choose strength, you can choose weakness. It's about what you want to do. So I want to close out. I want to say, even if you don't go on the semen retention journey, don't let these females manipulate you with sex. Don't let, and that's on social media or in real life. Don't get manipulated through sex. Don't think through your lower regions. It's not a good look. It'll probably put you in some situations that you didn't need to be in just for the purposes of pleasure. It's not a good look. Stay focused. And yeah, I think this was a good episode. I think I got everything I wanted to say out. And if you want to do the journey, welcome aboard. Start counting your days. And I'm telling you, you're gonna feel it. I'm telling you. And we didn't even talk about just how it makes females just different. Like, it's just something that happens, and it's very crazy. I'll encourage you to experience it for yourself and have a different experience. You might have a different experience than me. You might get on 30 days and start punching through walls. You might, I don't know, but I think especially in this culture and in this generation where masturbation and sex is so popular and men are so weak and they're so like thirsty. Being a man of strength is something that'll benefit you. And I can't say what it'll do for you because I don't know what it's gonna do for me, but I'm choosing strength over weakness. And I'm gonna see where I land. I'm gonna strap up my boots and put the work in and see where my chips fall. So this is the Silent but Deadly podcast 6-month semen retention special. Because I released this episode, that I can't fail now. I gotta come with the 1 year special. In June. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll come with another episode in the meantime. But for the Silent but Deadly show, right now I'm doing a challenge where I'm not eating no sugar for the whole month, and I'm gonna come out with a video that's not a podcast at the end of the month. It's gonna be probably my first like production type video, and we're gonna see how I do. We're gonna see how I rock out, see what my skills is like. But if you're still watching this, I appreciate you for watching this, making it to the end. Hopefully I spit some good knowledge and gave some value. And you can do what you gotta do. Males, females, stay abstinent, stay celibate, focus on your work, focus on what you gotta do, keep getting better, become a better person, and we're gonna keep rocking out. If you are with Silent but Deadly podcast, please support so I can your support, it supports me, so I keep the content going. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. Silent but Deadly 6. I'm gonna get out of here. Your host, JD Justin. Yes, sir. Semen retention. Let's do it.